Hi class, welcome to week 3. Yay, I'm sure everyone is excited. We're halfway there. So this week, what do we have due? We have discussion question 3. We have homework 3. Everyone, make sure that you're reading chapters 6, 7, and 8. This video will be about chapter 6, the expenditure cycle. And it's part 2, payroll processing and fixed asset procedures. I remember in the first post that we talked about each other, this was a topic that a lot of people said they wanted to learn more about. So what are our objectives for chapter 6? Our objectives are to recognize fundamental tasks of the payroll and fixed asset processes. So we all went over the fundamentals of the revenue cycle. This will be of the payroll and the fixed asset processes. We're going to identify functional departments of the payroll and fixed asset activities and the flow of transactions through the organization. We're going to specify the documents, the journals, and accounts that provide audit trails, promote record maintenance, and support internal decision-making in financial reporting. We're going to understand risk. We've talked a lot about the risks in the revenue cycle. Now it's the risks for the payroll and fixed asset cycles. So we're going to go through the risks and recognize the controls that we can put in place to reduce these risks. We're going to be aware of operational features and the control implications of technology used in payroll and fixed asset systems. So, IT, information technology can make our lives so much easier, but even that has to be built with controls, right? I'm sure everybody at work, at the very least, puts a password to get into their computer. So here's an example of a data flow diagram of the payroll procedures. Remember, like the WIP, that's the work in process. See if there's anything else that looks. So just kind of look through and go through this data flow diagram. So the payroll system. So the personnel department, I think where I work, we call it human resources, prepares personnel action forms. So what's a personal action form? What does it do? It activates new employees or change your pay rate, hopefully to something a lot higher. It does deductions like 401k deductions, those kind of things. And job classification mean like what is your job? Which department? Where are you? So the production employees, so you're going to see that what we're going through the payroll, it's for like a manufacturing company, someone that has inventory and that kind of stuff. So this kind of stuff kind of seems outdated. I haven't worked in a manufacturing department, but I'm not sure if this is the kind of stuff that's still being used. So for every job, there's a job ticket. So cost accounting use these tickets to allocate charges to work in process. As we learned probably in ACC 101 managerial accounting, we know that when you work on inventory, when you're manufacturing and working on inventory, that is going into the cost of the inventory, right? So this is how this is done, is through job tickets. Time cards. Time cards are used to capture the total time worked each day, period, for payroll calculations. It'd be interesting. I think I'm going to ask that as opposed to know if people are still using time cards or if there's something a little bit more sophisticated that they're using, if anyone happens to work in like a manufacturing company. So after cost accounting allocates labor costs or the work in process accounts, charges are summarized in a labor distribution summary and forwarded to the general ledger function. So here is one of those personnel, or as I had said, human resource forms. And this one is something that all of us, I'm sure, would like to have, is someone is being recommended for a salary increase. So just kind of look through and read through this. This is an example of a job ticket. So the job ticket kind of says what the employee is working on. So what inventory, what is it that the employee is producing? This is the example of a time card. As I said, I'm not sure if people are still manually writing down or punching in and punching out of when they come in and come out of work. So this is the payroll system. We're continuing on that. So the payroll department receives a pay rate and withholding data from the personnel department, human resources, and the hours worked from production. The payroll department prepares the payroll register, enters information into employee payroll records, and prepares paychecks and sends them to distribute paycheck function, file time cards. See, that's another thing that just seems manual, that they're filing the time cards, and personal action forms and payroll register copy. They distribute the paychecks and prepare accounts payable. They prepare cash disbursement, prepares a single check for entire payroll, and deposits it in the payroll impressed account, which is used only for payroll. Copy sent to AP, and journal voucher prepared and sent to the general ledger function. So this is the payroll register. So you can see a couple different employees, and you see their hours worked, their rate, what's their gross pay, and the different deductions. Yep, this is the employee pay and earnings information. So you see how much you're being paid for regular overtime, sick, vacation, holiday, withholding, federal income taxes, state income taxes, etc. And here we go, a nice check. So we have to update the general ledger, right? So all of this stuff has to go through the ledger. So the general ledger function receives the labor distribution summary, disbursement voucher, and journal voucher. The general ledger clerk makes entry which must have equal debits and credits. So we're putting in the labor and the indirect labor, and we're putting it as work in process, inventory, or factory overhead. All of this eventually will go through cost of goods sold, and then we're putting what the wages payable are. And this is from the disbursement voucher, your wages payable, and then all the things that you had to pay out or still need to pay, like the federal income tax and state income tax, FICA, so that's the Social Security stuff, any premiums, pension funds, or union dues. So this is the basic technology of the payroll system. And I say this is basic because it seems like very manual, because you're talking about like job tickets and time cards. It doesn't look like we're using any fancy information technology systems. So here, the personal action. So that was, like a pay raise, that kind of stuff, and time and attendance information initiate the payroll process. The payroll department reconciles the information, calculates payroll, and sends paychecks to paymaster for distribution to employees. Cost accounting receives the information regarding time spent on each job for posting to the work in process subsidiary ledger. So that's kind of what we we've been going through. The AP receives the payroll register, authorizes the cash disbursement to deposit a check into the bank and trust account from which payroll is drawn. And the General Ledger Department reconciles summary information and updates the account. So this is the advanced technology payroll system. So take a look at this diagram. So advanced, this is probably what most of us are more used to. So a larger organization often integrate payroll processing within the human resource management system, which captured a wide range of personnel-related data. Human resource clerks enter data in employee records in real time. Cost accounting enters job cost data in real time, so automatically. Biometric time clocks verify employee identify. So we have magnetic swipe ID cards, work like credit cards and identify time work. Proximity cards use readers to record time work. Mobile remote devices allow employees to clock in using handheld devices or web browsers. Data processing is done in batches at the end of the work period. Labor costs are distributed to work in process, overhead, and expense accounts. Online labor distribution file is created. Payroll is calculated and an online payroll register is created. The employee record files are updated. Paychecks are prepared and signed and distributed. Funds to cover payroll are transferred to the payroll impress account and transfer is recorded. Digital journal vouchers are entered and the system automatically updates the general ledger. So we know that once we start having a better, more advanced systems, things work a little bit smoother. So what are the risks in the payroll system? So incorrectly calculating time and attendance data, unrecorded or incorrectly recorded wages payable, and inaccurate postings. What are physical controls? Control objective is to maintain audit trail for payroll records, time cards, time tickets, and disbursement vouchers. Journal info from large distribution summary and payroll register, subsidiary and GL accounts. So physical controls. The supervisor verifies your time and attendance. The AP clerk verifies the payroll register accuracy, and the GL department reconciles labor distribution summary and payroll disbursement voucher. What are IT controls? So data input edits. Verify the integrity of the transaction data. Include missing data checks, numeric alphabetic data tests for invalid data values and check digits. IT controls error message and file backup. So any mismatch when posting time card or personal action data to an employee record should produce an error message. Backup procedures. I think everyone has to have this, should be in place to reduce the risk of data loss. Every big company has a place where all their data is backed up. IT controls automating posting to accounts, so record keeping functions are automated in advanced technology. Eliminating that human element reduces potential for error and significantly improves efficiency. So, what are the kind of risks that we still have? So, two general forms: paying non-existing employees by submitting fictitious time cards, or the overpayment of an employee. Physical controls. Personal action form helps payroll keep employee records current. So, segregation of duty. This is always been talking about. Timekeeping and personal functions should be separated. Because payroll has asset custody and record keeping responsibility, assign the AP the responsibility of reviewing payroll register and approving the payment. Use an independent paymaster to distribute checks to help verify the existence of employees. So, what are additional controls? Supervision. Supervisors should observe timekeeping and reconciling time cards. physical controls, prevent improper access to accounting records. So I'm sure at work everyone has access to different things. And lastly, we're going to do limit tests to detect excessive hours reported per period, biometric scanners